What is going on, YouTube? It is All Things Mets Media, and this video is going to be Mets Weekly News Episode 2, guys. Let's get into some news of the week for the New York Mets. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get into the video, guys. Ottavino in the New York Mets. Let's talk about it. Ottavino and the Mets, there seems to be some interest there. Ottavino went 6-3 in 2022 with a 2.6 ERA, a great job he did for the New York Mets. He came up in some big situations when Edwin Diaz couldn't close and Seth Lugo wasn't available. Ottavino was definitely the setup man, or he was the closer. He had a really big part in the bullpen, and he was definitely in the trust circle of Buck Showalter. So yeah, guys, but actually the report is that Ottavino wants a multi-year deal rather than a short-term deal. And, he is at the age of 37 years old. So that is a little concerning. He did a good job in 2022, like I said, 6-3, 2.6 ERA, great job. We know Ottavino and what he brings to the table, but that wipeout slider that he has one of the nastiest pitches in all of baseball. So I definitely think that there's a market for Ottavino. I don't know if the Mets bring him back on a, multi-year deal or short-term deal, but I think that the Mets should be looking to prioritize the bullpen, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, guys, Ottavino, I definitely, he's a good fit for the New York Mets. I like him. I like what he brings to the table. But yeah, guys, let's get into some other news. The Mets are prioritizing the bullpen. Apparently, the Mets have, Steve Cohen and all the Mets, they want to prioritize the bullpen, getting the top closer in all of baseball, Edwin Diaz, and for that big contract with the $100 million, the biggest reliever contract, to be honest, ever since Chapman, with $85 million. So it was a mega deal that the New York Mets made, and they had to strike this deal, and they struck a deal with Edwin Diaz. But other than that, guys, the Mets have set to be prioritizing the bullpen, but I don't know exactly what they are looking for in the bullpen. There hasn't been no reports, but I'll tell you this, guys. The Mets need left. They need a left-hander, and they need they need guys who can be a setup man, middle relievers. And, because with all the free agents that the Mets have with Trevor May, Seth Lugo, all these guys, Ottavino, all these guys, that were basically the meat of the bullpen, that the Mets are going to have to really look in some other directions and, probably sign some bullpen pieces. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think about that. What do because who do you think that the Mets should prioritize in the bullpen? Do you want to see the left-hander specialist? The Mets struggled last year, with Joely Rodriguez, Chasen Shreve, guys like that. They just couldn't find the lefty specialist that they wanted. And so we'll see what happens from there, guys. But let's get into some other news. And this is regarding Seth Lugo, another free agent of the New York Mets. And, he is at the age of, 33 years old. So he is pretty young. He's not that old. But the Mets and Seth Lugo, there hasn't been a lot of contact in the offseason from the Mets side to Seth Lugo. So I think that the Mets are probably going to move past Seth Lugo. And we know that, Seth Lugo has had a pretty good Mets career and all of that. But I'll tell you this, Seth Lugo, there's some days where he's just not available and he's just not dependable. He'll pitch you one day and then he's not available for another 3 days. That's my problem with Seth Lugo. That's a big problem. If I was a GM or if I'm a coach, I want a guy that I could depend on. And Seth Lugo, he doesn't seem to be very dependable. But other than that, Seth Lugo, I like what he brings to the table. I like his pitches. And, when he's actually on the field and, I like his pitches. But actually, there's been a market for Seth Lugo as a starter. We know with all the Mets and Seth Lugo, we know that, Seth Lugo wants to be a starter. He's always wanted to be a starter. And the Mets gave him a little shot to be a starter before, but, it just didn't work out. But Seth Lugo does have interest, from other markets to be a starter and also a reliever. And he's open to being a reliever as well, but he wants to be a starter for a certain team. And 33 years old, I mean, I think this guy definitely can be a starter for another team. But I think the Mets are moving past Seth Lugo, and it just makes sense. Like I said, I like Seth Lugo, but it just doesn't seem to be cutting it. He's just not very dependable. That's my big issue with Seth Lugo. And I think that's the Mets' issues, to be honest. But yeah, guys, let's get into some other news, and that's regarding the outfielders. Brandon Nimmo is getting some interest from the Seattle Mariners and the Tampa Bay organization. And, with Seattle, we know that they are, they have so many outfielders. The Mets don't have a lot of outfielders. So Brandon Nimmo was one of the top free agents, in the outfield market. He had a pretty good 22 season. He proved himself in center field. He did his thing. He proved that he can play in center field. He proved that he can be a dependable center fielder. My problem is with Brandon Nimmo is just his arm. But also Brandon Nimmo, he does so many things right for a team, and he's a great leadoff hitter. He gets on base. He has great plate discipline. He's pretty young, 26, 27. So he has a lot to offer a team. He's going to get a multi-year deal. And apparently the market seems to be around the 150, 160 million for him for probably, 5 or 6 years, maybe 7. But I think that Brandon Nimmo, is a very good player. But I don't know if the Mets are going to get back Brandon Nimmo on this team. I really don't. But there's also been some interest from Tampa Bay as well. And we know what Tampa Bay and what they bring to the table. They're a great organization. They make players better. And I think they could make Brandon Nimmo better. So we'll see what happens from there. But guys, let's get into some other news, and that's regarding another outfielder, and that's Michael Conforto. And Michael Conforto, former Met, obviously, he had a big injury, and he missed a whole year of baseball. So the Chicago Cubs are interested, and the Mets are also interested, but we don't really know what Michael Conforto is going to bring to the table. He hasn't played in a whole year. So listen, the Mets, I think, should be a little cautious about this. Michael Conforto is young as well. He's not old. He's around the same age, I think, as Brandon Nimmo. So, there's a market for Michael Conforto. But, I would say Michael Conforto should do a short-term deal, a 1-year deal, bet on himself like, some other guys did. You bet on yourself, 1-year contract, and, you do what you got to do. That's what Marcus Stroman did. That's what, that's what a lot of people did. So, yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think about Michael Conforto, Brandon Nimmo. Do you guys want Brandon Nimmo back on this team? Let me know why. Do you guys want Michael Conforto? Do you want a reunion with Michael Conforto? I think that the Mets and the Michael Conforto, era is dead. I just don't see Michael Conforto being back on the New York team again. But we'll see what happens from there. I really don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but that's what makes this so exciting, guys. This off season, and yeah. So let's get to some other news, and that's regarding Carlos Rodon. Definitely the Mets are still interested in Carlos Rodon, but he's also getting interest from other markets like the Texas Rangers, the Dodgers, and there's a reason why, because he is at the age of 26, 27. He went 14-8 with a 2.66 ERA. So, and he proved himself to be a good starter, really good starter. So, Carlos Rodon, I think that the Mets, they're looking at him as a fallback option. If they don't sign Verlander or if they don't sign DeGrom, they're looking to sign Carlos Rodon. And I think that the Mets should really look at Carlos Rodon as an option, because he brings a lefty, something that they really don't have other than David Peterson. I like David Peterson, but Carlos Rodon will be a great addition to the rotation. And he's young. He has a lot to offer. We know his injury past, so his arm hasn't had a lot of, work. So I think Carlos Rodon will be a great fit for the New York Mets. He will bring a lot to the table. But we'll see what happens from there, guys. But yeah, guys, That's really all the Mets news that we have for the week. This has been a light week. We know with the Thanksgiving and all the holidays, we're not gonna see that many signings. So that's to be expected. It makes complete sense. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that the Mets should go right after Brandon Nimmo and lock him up and all of that? Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that they should go after Carlos Rodon? Do you think they should be prioritizing the bullpen? I love interacting with you guys. You guys are awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Mets Weekly News, episode 2. It's a new series that I started. And yeah, guys, you guys will get weekly coverage every single week of Mets Weekly News. And this is all things Mets media, guys. This is where you get your latest Mets media, everything you need to know about the Mets, the latest, everything. I'll let you guys know what's going on. Yeah, guys, I love you guys so much. Stay blessed, and let's freaking go.